Hello, welcome to the Green Wealth Legacy Monday Money Talks. I hope we're live. My name is Christian David. I'm your life and money coach. And in today's conversation, we're going to talk about what the financially confident woman tells herself instead of, I can't afford it. We're very familiar with that expression. Most people use it all of the time. I can't afford it. I can't afford it. I can't afford it. I can't pay for it. I don't have the money. I can't afford it. I don't have time. I can't afford it. Right? This is what most people tell themselves. But today I want to tell you about what the financially confident woman tells herself that is different. Because a woman who's in control of her finances, she thinks differently than a woman who feels out of control. She thinks differently than a woman who looks at the economy and panics. A financially confident woman has a higher sense of herself, and that drives a different relationship with money. Most people are used to saying, I can't afford something when they're faced with having to make a purchase, but they don't have the funds in their account. I am not denying that reality. There is a reality where you want something, you go look in your bank account, you don't have the funds. And I'm not talking about even taking on credit, because I always teach my clients, if you don't have the funds in your bank account, you don't have it in your credit card. And this is a very foundational rule that allows people who have debt to build a better relationship with debt. This may not apply every single time, but this is a really powerful rule to go by. If there's no funds in the bank account, there's no funds in the credit card. Now, say you want to buy something that you know you need, but there's no funds in the bank account. We're trained to say, I can't afford it. A financially confident woman tells herself a different story. Because I can't afford it, here's the truth about that sentence. It comes out so naturally, but I really want you to tap in. Where do you go when you tell yourself, I can't afford it? Mentally and emotionally, where does that take you? It doesn't take you into resourcefulness. It doesn't take you into creativity. It takes you into, I don't have a choice. I guess I can get it. It brings you down, makes you feel lower, smaller, insignificant, at the mercy of whatever, the economy, your boss, lack of money. It keeps you tiny, tiny, tiny in scarcity. Like, do that exercise with me. When you're thinking to yourself, I really want this thing, but I can't afford it. Now, here's why your brain is it's so easy for your brain to go there. First of all, it's a practice pattern. All of society, most people say that I can't afford it. It feels natural. It feels factual. It feels like this is just the truth, right? The second thing I want you to think about is the brain really likes this sentence because it abdicates responsibility from you to an unknown source. And your brain is going to love this part of the process. Because the minute you abdicate responsibility, then you're not taking on that energetic work of figuring it out. Your brain never wants to figure it out. Your brain wants to stay in the same cycle of doing the same thing over and over and expecting something different. There's a part of you that wants something different. This is why you're out in the world looking for resources to support you. And when you find something that will support you, it requires an investment. If you ask your brain, it wouldn't even want you to go look for something to support you. But if you do take over that responsibility and find something, but your brain's still it's not on board with you taking on this new project, doing this new thing. So the easiest shortcut is I can't afford it. It's just like when we tell ourselves I don't have time. The truth is, it's not for you to say I don't have time when you have 24 hours a day. You have time. You have 24 hours a day. I don't have time is a lie your brain tells you, and you just choose to believe that because that's what everyone else does. A financially confident woman has a different conversation with herself about time, about money, about everything in life. She does not see life the way the average person does. And this is where I'm taking you. To build your better relationship with money, you have to embrace the fact that you're going to have to speak differently to yourself about what you want to believe. You're going to have to give yourself directions differently than the average person, than different than the most common perceived way of talking. You have to talk differently. So instead of saying I can't afford it, what can you tell yourself? Because remember, when you say I can't afford it, it keeps you in this tiny little bubble and it shrinks you smaller and smaller until you disappear. And now you're the victim of your entire circumstances of life. So when you find yourself in a place where you really want something and you don't have the funds right now to acquire it, you do not have to be a victim. You can decide to be a victim and feel sorry for yourself and tell yourself you can't afford it. To boo-hoo, poor me. I really wish I had more money so I can buy this thing. Life is so hard. Every time I want something, I can't afford it. I guess I'm just going to have to be stuck in this space where I can never afford anything I want for my life. You could tell that story. Because the longer you stay in that story is keeping you smaller and smaller and smaller. Or you could tell a different story. A story of, I may not have the funds right now, but I'll figure it out. Because here's the truth. This is one of the reasons people get into debt. When the financially confident woman realizes, I don't have the money cash right now, if that's her values, because sometimes different people, different values, right? But if she's thinking, this purchase, I want to make it with the cash, and I don't have the cash right now, she's not feeling sorry for herself. She's thinking, I got to figure this out. I really want this thing. So I got to figure this out. Let me do some math. She is now in a very powerful position. She's not thinking, well, I wish. That's too bad I can't have it now. No, she's not thinking that. And listen, this is the foundational way you start to think before you get to the place where you have an excess of money where buying what you want is no longer an obstacle. But you don't get there if you never get out of the thought, I can't afford it. You have to first understand that the conversation you have with yourself about I can't afford it has to be gone. You have to let that go. You can't stay there if you want to grow to the space where you have excess amounts of money that now saying, can I afford it? Can I not afford it? Is no longer part of the conversation. So it's more of like, what is according to my values that I'm going to spend the money on? There's a progressive, there's a staircase that is leading you to a very financially successful person that has excess amounts of money. But the foundation is here where you realize I've got to change my vocabulary. I've got to change the way I talk about my circumstances. So I made a list of thoughts, things you want to think about, you want to believe that are going to move you forward. And here they are. So the first thing is you first start to always believe there's a way. There's always a way. Even if it's not obvious yet, there's always a way to figure out a solution to any problem. Problems are in your life to expand you, to grow you. So when you're facing a problem, for instance, wanting something and you do not have the cash for it, that is a really good problem that you can solve by expanding your mindset, deciding there is a way. I don't see it now, but there is a way. That's the first thing you want to think about. And when you tell yourself, I can't afford it, that keeps you away from thinking there's a way. Because when you say, I can't afford it, that's the bottom of the bottom. Where'd you go from there? Nowhere. Versus if you're thinking, there's a way, then you start to realize, okay, I may not be able to pay for this now. It's because I haven't found the solution yet. Again, that opens up a pocket of your mindset that was locked if you were in the mindset of, I can't afford it. The third thing you want to start thinking about is how much you trust yourself to be creative with options. You can tell yourself that I trust myself to be creative with options, right? You realize that being resourceful is a skill, it's not a fixed resource. It doesn't mean that every time you want something, you just should have the money available. Sometimes you have to be resourceful, and it's a skill to cultivate, to build. So, in the space of there is a way, I can always be creative, I'm going to be resourceful, I will find a solution. Your brain starts to go to work because your brain, okay, I don't want to introduce this idea so casually. There's a difference between your brain wanting to use a shortcuts, going through, bypassing the pain that you feel, the smallest, the victimhood that you find yourself in when you are telling yourself, I can't afford it. Your brain wants to bypass the creativity, the resourcefulness that you could use. And so it goes straight to, I can't afford it. But also, your brain, the same brain, and this is why you have to do this work, because you can either follow the amygdala, which is the part that likes to shortcut straight into I can afford it, or you can follow the prefrontal cortex. This part is your executive center of your brain. Future focus, future forward. This part of your brain is where it really loves a good challenge and a very precise quest. So when you are facing a purchase that you really want to make, an investment, and you don't have the money, you can tell your brain, I need this specific money. Let's figure out how we're going to create it. This is a beautiful assignment to your brain. It will go to town to come up with all the ways you can create that money. So you need to tell yourself, I trust myself to get creative with this. I am resourceful. I'm creative. How do we come up with this money? The next thing you want to think about, this is the fourth thing, is you want to focus on the long game. You want to believe that every single step, no matter how small, compounds. So if you have a $10,000 purchase right now, you're trying to figure out how to come up with $10,000 to make it an investment that you want to make. You may not be able to figure out $10,000 now, but maybe you can figure out $1,000. Maybe you can figure out $500. Maybe you can figure out how to create $100. There is a beautiful beginning to that resourceful skill. And maybe you can even actually figure out the $10,000. You just have to allow yourself to open up to the possibility of that being your reality. And because it's a long game, you have to trust that in time you are compounding into this higher version of yourself who just figures things out like that. It's a skill that you build, and in time, you collapse the time that it takes for you to figure out solutions to problems. Because this conversation doesn't just apply to you creating more money. It's about all of the problems you face in your life. When you believe that there's always a way and that you will be the one to figure out that way, you will figure it out. The fifth thing that the financially confident woman believes about herself is that she is open to opportunity and that she will see them when they get here. When they're here, she will either create them or she will see them when they're around her. You literally just opened up your eyes as you say that to yourself. Listen, whenever this conversation comes up, most people like to go straight to, oh, let me go cut some expenses. Let me go look at my budget one more time. And that's a beautiful thing. That's where you want to go after you've done this first preliminary job of setting your mind the right way, of being intentionally resourceful. One of the reasons why it feels hard and impossible, even when you try to cut down things and trim down things in your budget to find the money, is because the whole time you're doing that, you're telling yourself how hard it is, how life is unfair, how impossible this task is, how you're going to get into debt, you're going to increase your debt. You're never gonna be able to pay it off. How once again you can't deal with this emergency. Once again you're struggling with this one problem. When you have all of that narrative running the background, when you're trying to cut the expenses, figure out where money can be hidden for you to like solve for this problem, that's why you're not successful. That's why the debt accumulates. So hear me, there is a difference. You need to set your mind first. Set it where you want it to be intentional, and then go to town, look in your life. Sometimes it's not about cutting down something in your budget. Sometimes you get so creative that money literally appears. It feels like it does, but that's because you got really trusting of yourself. You trusted yourself so powerfully that you move the atoms and the molecules in the world for you to create and generate new money that didn't exist before. I see this all of the time with my clients, with myself. I have made so many decisions in my own life before I knew I was ready for them. And when it was time to implement, I showed up and I implemented every day. Money came through every time. And this is not luck. This is me deciding that I will show up for myself all of the time. That I will figure it out. That I am resourceful. That I will solve this problem. And I solve the problem every single time. As I'm saying this to you, I feel very excited right now in my heart. Because it's coming true every time. You don't get here when you're living in, I can't afford it. It's a cop out from your brain to keep you small. Do not believe it. You can absolutely afford it. Listen, if you really want something, tell yourself you really want it and that you can figure it out. Now go to town and figure it out. If it takes you 30 days or 60 days, just keep trying to shrink that time period until you get to trying to figure something out, and then the next day there's an opportunity that shows up for you to create more money. This is how you build self-confidence. So this is what I want to leave you with. When life throws things at you, I really want you to watch out for how you're receiving them, what language you use to talk about these things, because that's what determines what you do next and how you show up in your life next. Your relationship with money shifts and moves one word, one sentence at a time. It depends on what you believe about yourself. And what you believe about yourself, it's what you decide to believe about yourself. This whole conversation will change your mindset and will create friction mentally and emotionally. Welcome that. Really meditate on what I just said to you and go and implement these belief systems that I just taught you so that you can start seeing how you move things around. Because you want to pay off that debt, you got to be creative and resourceful. Money is not just going to appear. You got to create it. And as you do that, you're going to realize how powerful you are. That's going to build self-trust. And you're going to keep going and just continue to collapse the timeline. I've got you. This is the work. You can do this. All right, my friend. I am teaching a master class on March 26th at 5:30 p.m. How to spend your money guilt-free. And I'm going to teach you 3 powerful skills besides being resourceful. But these skills, they will build your resourcefulness, that are going to build you into the financially confident woman. I'm taking you this year step by step to achieving all of your goals, all of your dreams and desires. So I want to see you in that class. Go to greenwealthlegacy.com/confidence to sign up and join me live. In the meantime, you can also request a one-on-one conversation with me through our website, greenwealthlegacy.com. And that one-on-one conversation is free, and that is the space for you to discover what you truly want and how you can achieve what you truly want. All right. I've had an incredible Monday money talk with you. Have a beautiful rest of your evening. Goodbye.